Good evening, welcome. Thank you very much for being here. We're very excited to have you here at Legacy City Preservation. Thank you for taking the time out of your evenings to join this conversation. So we're having a lot of fun here today in Newark. There are people here from over 40 cities, and we've had a great workshop this afternoon with leaders and practitioners from around the country.
It is our pleasure to be here in the great city of Newark and to have planned what will be an engaging and we hope game-changing conversation in collaboration with the esteemed Rutgers University.
So today's action agenda begins with a question that motivates so much of what we're all doing in Newark today. How do we preserve the stories of places and communities? How can we keep the legacy in legacy cities?
So, taking a look at the action agenda and the wonderful steps it presents, we want to build coalitions around our data. We want to bring people into the fold and use this as a tool to build your audience, to bring people who wouldn't otherwise be at the table into the mix. A way to build better outcomes, to understand where your organization is taking information, where your organization is going as a whole, and also as a way to share it out there, to build your profile as the source of this information that people have out there.
So when we first started this project, we thought perhaps we needed to work on a program to help people acquire these buildings, or maybe we needed to work on a tax credit that would incentivize people to try to acquire one of these buildings to turn them around. And what we found in our research was that in fact, these things already existed. These policies existed. There were tax credits. There were programs. People just weren't interested. They weren't taking advantage of these tools. And so our next question became, how do we compel them to want to do something about them? How do we compel them to take action about these communities? And so what we did was we started meeting with the community. We designed activities and exercises to engage them, to inspire them, to help them think and generate ideas about how to do these things. And what we found was that when they talked about these buildings in their neighborhoods, that's when everything changed for them. Instead of being sad and despairing and hopeless, they grew strong and they grew proud. They were proud of their memories and their stories, and they were proud of their neighbors and their communities that they had built together.
We have a huge vacancy crisis, and this is very typical of legacy cities, sprawl without growth. We have neighborhoods with 30, 40, 50% of the people that have been just disappeared. We have vacant houses everywhere, and this poses a giant challenge. But we started an organization called Buffalo's Young Preservationists about 5 years ago. We're 200 people strong. We're a bunch of young kids. We do crazy ass shit, and we love to save buildings, period. We started the Heart Bomb. We'll go and board up a window. We do whatever it takes. And BYP has been really successful.
This Legacy City Preservation movement, which is super exciting, like it's a movement now, we're part of a movement. It asserts that preservation has a really practical value in legacy cities. It has an economic value. It brings jobs. It preserves affordable housing. It saves buildings and neighborhoods that people want to move to, that businesses who want to hire those people want to move to. In very practical terms, it takes a liability that is a vacant building and it turns it into an asset. Legacy cities are tremendously special places. They have this rich history, amazing human capital, and of course wonderful buildings and neighborhoods filled with character. The legacy that they have contains a really deep and broad opportunity.
There's an arc and a theme, I would say, to how progressive preservation in legacy cities moves forward. And it's that arc and that theme that we are trying to preserve and move forward. Progress in that arc works from generations to generations. But throughout the whole thing is the quest for opportunity. That's what energizes it. It's what keeps the legacy in legacy cities, and we can't forget that.